Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bronx Buzz podcast. This is the second episode of the podcast. The first episode was released a couple days ago now. And for all of you that showed support on that episode, thank you for liking the video, liking the clips on TikTok, messaging me. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys will continue to tune into this series. And as always, if you have any suggestions, just make sure to DM me on Instagram, leave a comment in the YouTube section, and I can answer your question on here or even feature some of you guys. Like I said, I want it to be community-oriented on this podcast. But main topic of today's podcast, episode number 2, is the Yankees winning a baseball game, ladies and gentlemen. We've snapped a brutal 6-game losing streak today with Max Fried on the mound against the Mets. 6-4 win. Wasn't prettiest at times, definitely, little too close for comfort at times. We played ourselves and made that a little bit more difficult than it had to be, but we got the win. That's all that matters. Really important for us to get that win as we head into the off day tomorrow, and then we're back at the stadium for 2 straight tough series. So that's going to be the main topic of today's video. That's the main thing on the itinerary, but we also got some other things to talk about as well. I've got a big trade piece that I want to propose for the Yankees. I think he's going to be the main piece traded at the deadline from our system as we look to get some reinforcements, specifically in the bullpen. And just recently, a couple minutes before filming this video, we had some Yankees named to the All-Star game, so we'll get into all of that later. But I'm not going to waste too much time. First thing up, we got to talk about this win. And first thing we got to talk about is Max Fried. He didn't have his best stuff today. 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, gave up 6 hits and a walk. He even hit a batter as well. Didn't have his pinpoint command, but when on days like this when you don't have your best command, he did all you can ask for. He put us in a position to win, and we desperately needed that going into today, having lost 6 in a row. So he fought through it. That's my biggest takeaway from him, is he fought through it. His velo was up. I thought we saw a lot more 97 and 98 than we usually see from Max today, when he's normally around that 94 to 96 range. He threw 98 pitches, so the Mets lineup made him work. He was just getting uncharacteristically deep into some counts. He lost a couple hitters after getting ahead, so nothing to worry about. Solid outing. Season ERA now at 2.27, and he is 11-2. Just absolutely ridiculous performance from Max Fried so far in pinstripes. The $218 million we threw at him in the offseason seems like an underpay right now. That's how good he's been, and a lot of people raised question marks when we threw that contract out at him, but he's proved everybody wrong, and he's proved that he's worth every penny so far in his Yankees tenure. Couldn't be happier with him. And on the offensive side of things, we got the job done. A lot of guys stayed hot. Austin Wells, I wanted to make particular note of. He's heating up a little bit, homered in back-to-back games, 2 for 4 today, and he took really good at-bats. On the one in the 4th inning, he puts the ball to the right side of the infield to play to run there. Really just intelligent kind of hitting. 2 RBIs, really solid day for him, and obviously we all know how good he is defensively. He's just one of the best defensive catchers around. Calls a really good game as well, so nothing bad to say about Wellesley. He's obviously had his fair share of struggles this season, and lately it's been the nerve issue with his hand, and what's called the worriness of the Yankees about maybe a blood clot or an aneurysm, so he had to go for rather invasive testing, but he is all good. It's something that we'll have to watch. He might have to miss a few more days than he would like. He's missed a couple days over the past week or so. But yeah, he's been really good. Hopefully he can continue to stay hot. If he gets hot, this lineup gets so much deeper. He's such an important figure offensively and defensively for this Yankees team. So I think once he really gets going, like we saw towards the tail end of the regular season last season when he was hitting cleanup, this lineup gets, like I said, a lot deeper and a lot more terrifying. He is one of the best catchers in the league when he is right. Another guy who had a really good night and has been really good for like a month or so is Trent Grisham. 3 more hits today, 3 singles, so nothing too crazy, but 3 for 5. He's hitting .296 over his last 30 games, and in his last 15, he's hitting .333 with a .440 on base percentage. He's taken his walks well. That's something he's always done throughout his career, really, as he's had really good control over his plate. But yeah, he's hitting the ball really well, hitting the ball hard. Like I said, he's tied his career high in home runs now. Before the All-Star break, he has 17, which before this season, that was the most he ever had in the full season. So if he could get to 30 to 35 bombs, continue to hit 250, 260, that's a great season from Grisham. If he didn't have a little bit of a slump there last month in May, then he probably would be going to the All-Star game right now. But a really good season so far for Grish, and he's just such a good defensive fielder in center field. He had a great deke today to keep McNeil at third in the 5th inning on the Marte single. If he doesn't make that deke, McNeil easily rounds and scores, but he also holds Marte at first base, so just really intelligent fielder and really intelligent hitter. Just an experienced veteran of the game and really important to this Yankees lineup right now, offensively and defensively, similar to Austin Wells. And obviously, what can I say that hasn't already been said about Big Aaron Judge? just speechless. Another big 2-run home run today, his 33rd of the year, obviously two behind Cal Raleigh, but there's no doubt in my mind he's going to pass Raleigh. Raleigh's going to tail off a little bit here in the latter months of the season, but no shame to him. He's a phenomenal hitter, having a really great year as well. But Judge is just too good. I mean, he also had the sac fly that literally just missed it, just under it. I think he got 104 exit velo and drove in a run, but gave it a real ride and right on the warning track to Nemo as well. So he could have just as easily had 34 today, not 34 homers today, but his 34th homer of the season today. And he also made a great play in right field in the 6th inning, I believe. The diving catch came in, got on his belly, and caught that ball. So that's pretty impressive. He might be in the contention to win a Gold Glove this year. You know, Judge has been really good defensively this year after moving back to right field, which is his better position. You know, he played center field last season and plays a pretty good center field, but especially trying to conserve his legs and, you know, prevent injury, right field is the move for him right now, and he's been playing fantastic there as well. He's got a great arm that he's showed off in this series as well. So nothing I can say about Aaron Judge that hasn't been said already. I mean, just the greatest player on the planet, one of the greatest players we've ever seen. So literally, there's nothing else to it. And then a guy I touched on briefly in the first episode of the podcast was Cody Bellinger, who's been really hot lately. He continued that trend recently. Two more hits today, 2 for 3 with a walk as well, but the biggest point being his fantastic play out in left field, borderline game-saving play to deny Soto of a base hit. He gets the webbing just under the glove, and then he fires back to first base to beat the retreating Lindor, and Goldschmidt had a pretty good play on that one as well to deke Lindor into not sliding. But without that, you never know what could happen. I mean, Mark Leiter Jr. was on the mound, and he's been struggling mightily lately. More on that later, but just what a play from Bellinger. I mean, to strand it looks like it was going to be first and second with nobody out, and then he strands the bases with 2 outs heading to Pete Alonso. So just completely takes the energy out of the stadium and also takes the pressure off of a struggling pitcher. So fantastic play from Bellinger. He's really starting to prove himself as one of the best all-around players in baseball right now. I mean, he got off to a rough start to the season, obviously. For the first month and a half, I think he was hitting under 200. But now we're starting to see why the Yankees have been in love with him for a couple of years now, even since when he was with L.A. The Yankees have been rumored to want to bring him to the Bronx, and I hope he's in the Bronx for a long time. I mean, he really fits in here in the clubhouse, and obviously on the field he's been fantastic as well. So having him in the lineup and in the field is just proven pivotal to the Yankees this season, and he's going to help us a lot going down the stretch. I know that for sure. He's a fantastic ball player. And then Paul Goldschmidt had a really nice little day today, 2 for 4, hits off of both a righty and a lefty, so he's starting to cover both arms really well as well. In the leadoff spot, had a double and a single, so still hitting the ball pretty hard. Got unlucky on some swings. I think he's been a little bit unlucky on the whole lately, but he has been in a tremendous slump. You know, he looked like a shoo-in to start the All-Star game at first base, but after his brutal last month and a half, he's fallen out of the All-Star game entirely, so unfortunate for Goldie, but I think he's still going to prove pivotal down the stretch. I mean, his bat has been just too good at times this season, and once he gets going, even at 75% of what he was for the first couple months of the year, he's going to be a really productive hitter, especially with how good of a defender he is and his veteran presence in the clubhouse as well. He's really important to this team. And my last thoughts on the offense are that today we took much more impressive at-bats. We did our fundamentals better. You know, you think about, we won this game by 2 runs, and we scored 2 runs on fielder's choices out in the 4th inning, courtesy of Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells. Both grounders just hit to the right side of the infield. That's just fundamental baseball. When you got a man on third, you hit a grounder to the right side, you're going to score a run as well, especially because I believe the infielders were playing back for both of those plays. So that's what we've been missing for a large part of this offensive slump and just general team slump we've been in for the better part of a month. You know, the offense has started to come on lately and just continues to heat up in terms of fundamentally and also putting big swings on the ball. But those 2 fielder's choices, you don't see that, you know, in the highlight reel, but those plays, those win you the game right there. You know, those 2 runs, that was the difference maker today. So it was good to see Volpe do that as well, get another RBI, and then Wells, obviously we talked about him earlier, but Wells just continues to take mature at-bats and hit the ball hard and really starting to heat up. So really good to see that from 2 young hitters, and just as a team as a whole, just to see us have that ability to score runs even when we're not getting hit. So that's really just fundamental baseball and really important for a team that's got as high aspirations as we do. So it was really great to see that from me especially. Now, on a bit of a negative note, unfortunately, the bullpen did struggle a little bit today. We struggled to bridge to our high leverage guys. Loizaga gave up a run over the course of an inning. Three straight hits when he came out in the sixth inning to obviously score the inherited runner that Max Fried left on, and another runner that he was responsible for as well. But other than that, I think he bounced back really well. He induced the ground ball double play and then the line out to Judge. It's a great play from Judge, but it's also a good pitch. So it's good. I mean, Loizaga didn't have his best command, and when you leave your sinker out over the heart of the plate, you're going to give up a lot of hard contact and grounders that just find holes. They happen. I think Loizaga is going to continue to be solid moving forward. Good sixth inning, seventh inning guy. He could give us some length, but he only went one inning today, obviously with the trouble he found himself in. And then he bridged to Mark Leiter Jr., who really has just been bad lately. I think he's been unlucky at times in the past couple of weeks, but today it was not being able to throw strikes, and the only 2 outs he got were courtesy of the aforementioned Bellinger double play. Other than that, he walked a batter and hit a batter as well. So if we don't get that Bellinger play, you probably end up losing this ball game because those were the only 2 outs he got. And then he bridged to Tim Hill, who got 1 pitch, 1 out to get out of that inning, and then threw another inning as well. 10 pitches, 4 outs. Just Tim Hill continuing to mow down hitters and be very efficient from the left side. Just not enough good things that I can say about Tim Hill, to be honest with you. He's so impressive. The king of ground balls, the king of soft contact. And then he bridged to Devin Williams, who after a little bit of a tough go about it in Toronto on Wednesday, he was fantastic, really sharp, really good fastball. Got a little bit lucky with some strike calls in the first at bat, but I think he threw the ball really well. Really good changeup, and he's one of the best relievers in the game when he's right for a reason. I was a little bit worried that his confidence would be a little bit shot after he finally hit a bump in the road when he's been hot for the past month and a bit in Toronto, but he looked really good. I think he's going to be the closer continuing to go forward. His ERA is continuing to go on the downhill pattern after that torrid start. But really impressive. 1 inning, 2 Ks, no hits, no walks, no runners on. So really smooth inning, picks up his 12th save of the year. Really impressive from Devin. And then scores from around the AL East today. The whole division won. So our win basically only impacted our morale and our streak going forward. Nothing in the standings has changed. The Blue Jays beat the Angels by 1 run for the 3rd straight day. They continue to pull out, just scrappy victories. So there's that. The Rays beat the Twins after dropping the first 2 games of that series as well. So we're still tied with the Rays for 3rd place. Yeah, even the Red Sox beat the Nationals, and the Orioles beat the Braves thanks to a good start from Trevor Rogers as well. So yeah, like I said, the AL East just dominated today. So our standings remain the same as it was yesterday. And obviously we are off tomorrow. The Rays and Blue Jays are not. The Blue Jays are in Chicago for the start of a 3-game set against the White Sox, against Sean Burke. They got Barrios going on the mound, so you'd fancy their chances to win there, especially how hot they've been. And then the Rays are up against the Tigers. The Tigers have not announced their starting pitcher yet, but Shane Baz is going for the Rays, who's had a bit of an up-and-down year as well. So I'll be rooting on Detroit there. It pains me to even say those words, but I guess we have to. And then previewing our series against the Mariners. Obviously, we're off tomorrow, but then we're back at the stadium for a 3-game set against the currently 3rd-placed wild-card Seattle Mariners. Tuesday, we got Will Warren going up against Logan Gilbert. Gilbert's a really good pitcher, so that'll be tough there, and Warren looks to bounce back from just a horrendous outing in Toronto against the Blue Jays, where he got lit up for 8 runs across 4 innings. Wednesday, the Mariners are sending out Logan Evans, who will be making his 9th start of the year, who's having a good year so far in a short sample size. And we'll be sending out what hasn't been officially announced yet, but it's going to be Cam Schlittler, who we're calling up from AAA. Still only 24 years old, Schlittler is a very physical pitcher. He's 6'6", 225 pounds, and in 15 games in 2025, he's got a 2.82 ERA. He's pitched 76.2 innings, has 99 strikeouts. Really good stuff. His fastballs went up to 99. Three plus off-speed pitches, so still 24 years old, so really promising prospect to see there. I can't wait to see what he does in his debut. Probably won't give us too much length, if I had to guess, so we're going to have a well-rested bullpen. Hopefully Warren can give us, at least 6 on Tuesday, so that we'll have a well-rested bullpen for Schlittler's start, but really excited for him. And then Thursday, we got Stroman on the mound against Wu. Wu obviously had a very good performance against us last time out. He's given the Yankees trouble in the past as well, and he is going to the All-Star game. So really, really tough series for the Yankees. Mariners are a really good pitching team. Obviously, they got Cal Raleigh on the offensive side, but other than that, their offense isn't too great in my eyes. They haven't been scoring many runs, especially in the series against the Pirates, which is going on right now. But the Pirates pitching has been surprisingly good as of late as well. So that's what we got ahead for the Yankees. If you can win 2 out of 3 against the Mariners, I think that's a success, especially because we got another tough series against the Cubs. Hopefully the Blue Jays can manage to drop 102 in Chicago against the White Sox, and the Rays can, lose the series against the Tigers as well. But we'll see what happens. We just got to worry about what we can control right now, and that's trying to go out there and get a couple wins against the Mariners, who are a tough team to beat, tough team to score runs on. So we'll see what we can do there. And then if you recall, I mentioned earlier in the episode that I believe the Yankees have the perfect trade candidate at the deadline to go and maybe get a good bullpen arm, maybe a good infielder, maybe a starter as well. And that's Mr. Everson Pereira, who you might remember made the journey to Houston with Wells and Dominguez back in 2023 and was part of that young, touted Yankees core during that dreadful 2023 season. Obviously didn't do too well. I believe he hit 151 during his time with the Yankees in 2023, but he had a big injury in 24 that saw him not be able to play any of the field during spring training this year, and we only saw him at DH. He was in contention to be the DH at the start of the season when Stanton went down with the injury, but we all know Ben Rice, rightfully so, won that job. But he's having a really good year down in AAA. He just hit a 5-hit, 2-homer cycle yesterday, but he's hitting .262 with an .864 OPS, 15 homers, showing some really good plus power. Still striking out a little bit more than he should, but I believe he is a major league ready hitter. And right now, there's just no path to the major leagues with the Yankees for him. We got a stacked outfield core. We've got four deserving outfielders that deserve to play every day. And we got a lot of good outfielders in the minors as well. Spencer Jones, obviously the big one. So I don't see a path for him to see regular playing time in the Bronx anytime soon. And I wish the best for him. I want him to get regular time in the big leagues. It was really unfortunate what happened to him with the injury. So I think he'll go somewhere and probably play really well. He's always been a good player, a highly touted prospect for a long time now, it feels like. So I do think he will unfortunately be shipped off at the deadline, but we could get a really good player for him. I think he's got good value right now with the season he's having at AAA on both sides of the ball. Now that he is back to playing in the outfield as well. And then speaking of trades, Bob Nightingale, of course, of USA Today, reported that the Yankees would, quote-unquote, love to add a Eugenio Suarez, who we briefly mentioned in last episode of the podcast as well. Here's my thoughts on that. As much as I would love to add a guy like Suarez to this lineup, you're probably going to have to give up a solid prospect like Pereira for him and some really good trade pieces at this deadline. And right now, the offense is not the issue, And if you think about, we need some better defense at third base because Jazz is obviously dealing with that sore shoulder and making some throwing errors on a pretty regular basis right now. Suarez doesn't play a fantastic third base. I mean, he's a decent little third baseman defensively, but he's more known for the bat. Obviously, he's getting on into the twilight years of his career. I believe he's 33 now, so he's obviously not getting any younger, but he's having one of the best offensive seasons of his career, one of the best run producers in the game right now. But if we're going to give up a lot to get him, then what's left in the bullpen? That's our big issue right now is we haven't been able to get consistent outs out of anyone in the bullpen besides guys like Tim Hill, Devin Williams, even Luke Weaver has struggled since coming off the IL. Ian Hamilton has been good as well. But we need guys that we can get consistent outs from in the bullpen. So I think that's what our resources would be better geared towards using them at the deadline, is to try to get some bullpen help. But like I said, if we do go out and get Suarez, no complaints from me. He's a lethal bat and would just make this lineup even better, and we're already one of the best lineups in baseball, so adding him would just be terrifying for opposing pitchers. But I do think it'd be better off in the long run for us to go and get maybe a starter, but also some relievers for sure with the trade pieces we do have at the deadline. And you got to think we don't have too many trade pieces that we would want to give up, but we will need to give up some to go and get some bullpen arms, and we need to give up a lot to go and get Suarez, and especially given that he's not guaranteed to sign after this year. He is a free agent come the end of the season. I don't know if I'd be willing to give up a lot for him. Like I said, when our bullpen is the biggest problem right now. And to end the episode, we got to talk about our new All-Stars. Obviously, joining Aaron Judge in the All-Star game is Max Fried, who has been elected to the American League All-Star team as a pitcher. We talked about him earlier, just such a good season for Max. And then a little bit surprisingly, Jazz Chisholm Jr. has been elected to the reserve team as an infielder. Since coming off the injury, he's been one of the best third basemen in the game offensively. Obviously, had his fair share of struggles defensively. But he's been hitting the ball really, really well over the past 30 games or so. So I think he's deserving of a spot there. His OPS is, in the 850 range. So average is still sitting around 240 because he had his fair share of struggles prior to the injury. But his new 70% approach that he's talked about at length with reporters has worked wonders for him. So really happy to see both of them go to the All-Star game. I think they're both deserving. A little surprised Carlos Rodon didn't get in. I think that start from yesterday hurt him when he gave up the 6 earned runs. So, and obviously he skated a little bit recently. Didn't have his best start in Toronto and has had a couple of shaky starts here and there in the past month or so. But overall in the season, his ERA is just over 3. Surprised he didn't get in, but I think he deserves it. But what can you do? What's done is done. He skated a little bit recently. If he didn't have a couple of bad starts in the past month, I think he gets in without doubt. But hopefully over the course of the week, as guys drop out, with injuries and such, we'll maybe get a guy or two added to the All-Star team as well. But really good news just to see our guys get some recognition. It's always fun to watch them at the All-Star game. And obviously the All-Star game is less than 2 weeks away. Tuesday let me check my calendar here. Tuesday the 15th is the All-Star game, and obviously Monday the 13th is the Home Run Derby. No Yankees participating in the Derby, I don't believe. We know Aaron Judge won't do it unless it's at Yankee Stadium. He did it once. He won it, obviously, but it's just what Aaron Judge does. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch them. And that's pretty much all I got to say for this episode. Great win today, much needed going into the off day. And with the red-hot Blue Jays continuing to pick up wins and the Rays winning as well, we needed the win today from our stopper, Max Fried, and he contributed in a big way. So really happy. I can be in a good mood. The Yankees won. I don't even know what to think of that right now. I can be happy for 2 days because we have an off day tomorrow. I can be in a good mood. So I'm probably going to go, maybe graze in a prairie somewhere and just skip happily or something. I don't know. It's just we won a baseball game. What can you say? So yeah, hopefully we can continue to get hot. Hopefully the pitching figures it out, especially the bullpen as we try to bridge to Williams there at the back end there. So yeah, just in a good mood. Really happy. Thank you guys if you have stayed all the way throughout this video. Thank you for watching. Please do make sure to check out the first episode and the socials as well. I post clips of the podcast on TikTok, and I post around-the-clock Yankees coverage on Instagram. Make sure to give me a follow there. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, go Yankees.